Scottish side in Celtic. Celtic were once maybe not a juggernaut on a European stage, but they were once a team who those European sides did not want to play. They did not want to play them. Rewind your minds back to the 2012-13 season. Lionel Messi literally wanted Barcelona to sign their goalkeeper Fraser Forster because they had beaten them and he had made 14 saves. So we're going to try and get them back to that stage, but with a twist, because the Scottish League's a bit too easy. Celtic have dominated the Scottish League for a long time now, so I think it's about time they go ahead and, similar thing to Cardiff and Swansea, they come over to England and they join the Premier League, because we're going to see how Scotland or Celtic do in the Premier League. As you can see, I've put them into the Premier League. Sorry, Sheffield United, you're gone. I'm going to see how they do in the Prem and also see if we can rebuild them whilst being in the Premier League. So these are the aims of a rebuild. We want to qualify for the Champions League, because obviously we are in England now, so it's going to be a lot harder, but we are going to try and get top 4, have a good European run, whether that be in the Champions League, Conference League or Europa League, win a trophy in England. Again, that could be the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, or even the Prem. But we also want to do all of this whilst developing Scottish talent and prove to those in England that the Scottish League is a serious league and Scotland is a serious footballing nation. So this is the team that we start off with, and to be honest, I think this team doesn't need much work. I'm not going to do too much with it because I do want to just see the sort of general state of Celtic and see how they do in the Prem. So only a couple of areas we would really look to improve. We're going to get rid of a couple bits of deadwood like Michael Johnston, James Forrest, who bit of a Celtic legend, but unfortunately he is gone. We've brought in Bendo, a young Scottish right winger. Hopefully will develop really well, getting that Scottish quota filled. We then brought in a centre back in Dawson Adebayo from Fulham for £10 million. We didn't really have too much money, so I couldn't really splash for cash too much, but I think he's a good signing for us. And then we got a goalkeeper, which is one of the main areas of needs. And we got Justin Bealo from Feyenoord for £17.5 million. And that was pretty much most of the business we done in this window. As I said, I really didn't want to touch the squad too much. I thought it was pretty good. I think this squad is more than capable of having a solid run, pushing for those Europa League places. Maybe not top 4 this first season, but I think we can have a solid season. We're not in the Champions League this year as well because I did transfer us to England, so that took us out of it, but let's try and qualify for European competition this first season. So let's simulate to January and see how the boys are getting on. Alright, so we are in January of our first season in the Premier League with Celtic. Let's have a look at how we are doing. So in the Carabao Cup we were unfortunately knocked out in the quarterfinals to Man United, but no real shame in that. We gave them a good go and Man United a good side, quarterfinals a decent stage. As for the Premier League, again, solid, 10th place, not too bad. We're actually pretty close to Spurs and Chelsea, funnily enough, but we're not too far away from 7th. Maybe Europa League's a bit of a stretch, but 7th, 8th, we might be able to secure a Conference League spot. I can't really complain too much. This is around the area I would have liked us to be, so I'm pretty happy so far with our performance. Look at some of the player stats. We can see that a couple of players are doing nice. Geigo Furiashi and Leo Abade, I think that's how you say his name, are doing well. Abade's quite young as well, so hopefully we can sell him on for a decent profit if he continues like this. But besides those two, I mean, literally nobody scoring 2 goals is the next person, so goals are a bit of an issue. Maeda, the other person in our front three, has scored 0 goals, got 2 assists, so we've decided to change that and we have swapped him plus £10 million for Martin Tellier from Stade Rennais. Needed a bit more firepower. For me, it's not good enough not to score a single goal in that front three, so this is our new front three now. Montelier comes in and hopefully he can give us some more goals. goals in this side, which could hopefully propel us into a European spot. But let's go simulate now to the end of the season and see if he has had an impact. Alright, so we are at the end of the season now, our first season in charge. Let's take a look at how we have done. Did we get a European spot? Did we win a trophy? Well, we did not win a trophy in our first year. A disappointing exit in the FA Cup to Everton, which is less than ideal there. But how did we do in the Prem? We did really well. We did really well in the second half of the season. We salvaged it and got 7th place, finishing above Spurs, Newcastle and Villa, only by 1 point, and that does mean we are in Europa football next season. I think that's Europa League or Conference League. I'm not too sure. I will confirm that later, but that's good. A fantastic second half of the season. And looking at the end of season stats, Geiger Fuyashi was fantastic, as was Leo Abade, and Martin Delier came in and instantly hit the ground running with a solid return of 6 goals in the second half of the season. So that was a fantastic signing there mid-season to help us get over the line, and we are qualified for European football next season. Quarterfinals of Carabao Cup first year, 7th place European football. I think that's a success, and that tees us up nicely for a second season where we can hopefully tick off one of our aims of having a good European run and go more seriously for those domestic competitions and win a trophy in England. But let's go ahead then and get into our second season in charge. Alright, so this is how the team is looking ahead of the second season. Again, there's not too much work I really want to do with this side. The main areas really are potentially CDM. McGregor is getting a little bit old. Kind of revamp that midfield potentially. Maybe the fullbacks or get some depth is really the main thing here. So that's what we're going to address. We got rid of a lot of deadwood, which raised actually some decent fees, 4 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil here and there. Gave us enough money to go buy some decent players. So we got some more depth at centre back. Lloyd Kelly came for a real cut price fee of £5.4 million. And then we went big for a left back, a Scottish left back in Kieran Tierney for £35 million, our marquee signing. Scottish talent, hopefully going to get developed better, and is a huge upgrade on Taylor, who was our previous left back. We then brought in another centre back in Armel Belakocha for £10.5 million, again to give us more depth as we are in Europe this season. More Scottish talent came in. Elliot Anderson, £12.8 million in the midfield. More depth, Scottish talent as well. Young will hopefully develop into a good player. We also bought a backup right winger, which was needed, in Angelo from Chelsea for just £4.7 million. So we are really getting those cut price fees for players. And we got another midfielder. I said I wanted a little bit of a revamp in that midfield. Lewis Ferguson for £14.7 million from Bologna. Another Scottish player who will hopefully do fantastic for us. And then finally we got a backup striker in Abdullah Sima from Brighton for £6 million. So he really just didn't do too much with the starting 11. As you can see, the starting 11 hasn't really changed too much, but what has changed is the depth. We've got much needed depth cover for players who, if they underperform, there'll be replacements there. So hopefully now our squad has got enough depth to go for those European runs and go for those domestic cups. But I'm not expecting maybe top 4 this season, but I want to maintain that European places and try and get a trophy. So let's simulate to January and see how we get on. Alright, so we are in January now. Let's take a look at how the team's getting on. So in the Carabao Cup, fantastic. We are in the semi-finals of the Cup, drawn against Arsenal, so a bit of a difficult tie, but we are only a few games away now from a potential Cup, so that is great. As for the Conference League, which we qualified through last season, great as well. Undefeated in the groups, only 1 draw, 5 wins, and we'll be going into the round of 32. So hopefully we can have a good run there. In the league, incredible as well. We are 7th place. I mean, I say incredible, it's not incredible, but it's really is really solid. That's in and around where I want to be. The main thing was with us on have a good run in most competitions, and we're doing that right now. We're going far in the Carabao, we're going far in the conference, and we're staying competitive in the league. Looking at the stats, Kaigo Furiashi has continued his fantastic form. Leo Abade slightly fallen off a little bit, but still chipping in, as is Martin Tellier. Lewis Ferguson, the Scottish talent we signed in the summer, has been fantastic as well. Added some goals from midfield, which was really, really needed, so that's great, but we're not going to add anything in mid-season, unlike we did last year. We don't really need it, so let's simulate to the end of the season and see if we can tick off any of our objectives. Alright, so we are at the end of the second season now. Let's have a look. Did we have a European run? Did we win a trophy? Well, unfortunately in the Carabao Cup we did get kind of battered by Arsenal and knocked out the semis, which is disappointing, but that's a good run by us and signs of progress. FA Cup did not go to plan either. Round 5 exit to Chelsea, so no domestic cup this time round. In the league, not bad. I mean, we finished 8th, which I believe doesn't get us European football, which is disappointing, but we were only 6 points off top 4, so we did well, but it all kind of comes down to this Conference League, because in order to qualify for Europe next season we need to win it. And did we have a good run? Well, we were somehow drawn against Sheffield United, who we ironically swapped out, and we narrowly beat them, the Scottish side now, to go to the quarterfinals, where we face Ferencváros and we battered them 3-1, 7-3 in aggregate. So we are in the semi-finals of the Conference League now, where we face Inter Milan, and we somehow beat them 2-1 at their ground, a 3-2 aggregate score, and we got to the final of the Conference League. Did we win it, Bo? Did we win it? Did we win it? The Stade Rennais, Martin Tellier's former club. We did indeed. We won 2-0. So we have brought a trophy back to Celtic, European glory, and Conference League victory. I don't actually know how we beat Inter Milan, but we have done it. That is a European run ticked off, and that is a trophy ticked off. So this rebuild, this second season, has been fantastic. That also secures our spot in the Europa League next season. Looking at the player stats, I mean, Martin Tellier went on an absolute tear in the second half of the season. Fantastic from him. Kaigo kind of fell off a little bit, but was fantastic. Lewis Ferguson as well. What a signing this man was. Incredible stuff there. So, end of second season, we finished 8th. We were knocked out of the FA Cup in round 5, semi-finals of Carabao Cup, but we won the Conference League. So that is important because we are now in the Europa League next season, where next season now really our main focus is on top 4. We need to qualify for top 4, so that is our aim. Let's go ahead and get into season 3. So season 3 now, I don't really think we need too much work in this side. I think this team is in a pretty good state in order to qualify for top 4, so we're not going to do too much work. We're just going to add bits of quality here and there to secure us that top 4 position. So we brought in a bit of depth in the fullbacks area. Joshua Brenner came in on a free transfer, and then Callum McGregor, who was getting old, unfortunately was sold to Nice for 16.3 million. But we used that money to make a big upgrade on him in that midfield area. We bought in Scott McTominay for 23.3 million from, interestingly, Man City. So another Scottish player comes into our ranks after one leaves, and he'll be a huge upgrade in that midfield for us. Again, we cashed in on Matt O'Reilly, who went to Spurs for 24 million. It was good money, and we decided to use that money to go ahead and upgrade that area. Matteo Guendouzi joined for a pretty hefty fee of £40 million, but I think it's going to be well worth the money. He looks like a fantastic, fantastic player. And that was all of the business we did in the transfer window. As you can see, the midfield is now revamped. Ferguson coming in off the bench with Adam McGoals as well. I think this team is good enough now for top 4. That is our main aim. That's the last thing we need to take off. Can we do it? Let's see. Let's simulate to January. Alright, so we are in January now. Let's take a look at how we are getting on in our 3rd season. Unfortunately, Carabao Cup, we were knocked out to Brentford, but it doesn't really matter now. We've already won a trophy. Europa League going well, topped our group ahead of Marseille, unbeaten as well, so we could have another European run on the cards. That would be pretty impressive. As for the league though, that's the one we really care about. How are we getting on? Okay, we're pretty good. We're in 3rd place, which is exactly where we want to be. We want to be in top 4, but it is extremely tight from 6th to 2nd really. There's only 6 points in it, so we need to stay switched on for the rest of the season, but right now, I mean, we're performing fantastic. Geigo Furuyashi has maintained his good form this season. Martin Terrier is doing well. Leo Abade, not so much, though only 2 goals in there. Lewis Ferguson again, fantastic at getting goals, absolutely superb. McDominay's also grabbed in some goals, but yeah, we're not going to make too many changes. I mean, we are in 3rd place in the league, so I don't think there's any need to make any changes. Hopefully the team can maintain this, secure top 4, and maybe even have a run in the Europa League. But let's have a look, and let's get to the end of the season. Alright, so we are at the end of our season. Let's take a look at how we got on. Did we manage to get top 4? So starting off with the FA Cup, we don't really care about this. Knocked out to Man City, no shame in that one. How did we do in the Europa League though? How did we do there? Well, I mentioned it at the start about Barcelona, and we did it. We beat Barcelona in the round of 16. Insane. We relived those memories, and then we beat Malmo in the quarterfinals to make the semi-finals of the competition, where we faced Atletico Madrid though, which was just a bit too much of an ask for us, and we were knocked out in the semi-finals. But what a run there, knocked out Barcelona and made the semi-finals. However, how did we do in the league? Did we make top 4? Did we make top 4? Did we do it? We did indeed. We finished 3rd place, so we did not move from January to the end of the season. I'm kind of sad though, because we were actually pretty close in winning the league. We were only a couple points off the top spot in Man United. 4 points off. So who knows, we could have snuck a league title there, but I can't complain. 3rd place is fantastic. Martin Tellier again. This guy in the second half of the season is clutch. 24 goals. Geigo Furuyashi, 22 goals. Lewis Ferguson, incredible stuff. I don't know how this guy is scoring so many goals, but to score that many goals from midfield is insane from him. And yeah, I think we've ticked off all of our objectives now. Let's round up this rebuild. So we qualified for the Champions League. We finished 3rd place. We had a European run. We had 2, you could argue, we got to the semis of the Europa League, knocking out Barcelona, and we won the Conference League. Won a trophy, as I said, won the Conference League, and I believe we did develop Scottish talent, because if we have a look at our final team in that final season, which I'll show you now, you can see we have Lewis Ferguson, who was a key player, Scottish. We had McDominay, key player, Scottish. In the side, we had Tierney in there, Scottish, key player. Looking at the bench as well, we had Taylor, Anderson, Ben Doak, all of these guys, Scottish. So I believe we did it. We showed England that the Scottish League is not a joke, Scotland's not a joke, and they can succeed in the Premier League. But there we go, that is the rebuild complete. Let me know who you want to see me rebuild next, and if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing. I'll see you in another